Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Awesome Build. Well, as you may know, this week Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes out. And when the first Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I did a tutorial on how to build the Star-Lord mask, and I also did a tutorial on how to make some cheap Star-Lord guns using some dollar store squirt guns and some dollar store shampoo bottles. And if you're interested in seeing that tutorial, you can check the link below, and it's on my personal YouTube page. But as you can see, these aren't very movie accurate. So, some months back, I purchased online this Star-Lord gun from Ruby's. And you can find it at a bunch of different places, a lot of different costume shops carry it. I think I probably got this one through Spirit. Usually retails for around 15 bucks. But you might be able to find it a little bit cheaper. So what we're going to be doing today is cracking this sucker open and just doing a quick paint job to try and make it look like Star-Lord's gun. Let's see here. All right, it's super lightweight, so I'm probably going to add some weight to it. We'll open it up and maybe I'll put some, I've got some scrap pieces of metal and stuff like that that we can glue to the inside to give it a little bit of weight, but that's purely up to you. If you are like, no, it's fine, I don't care if it's a little light, it'll be nice and light to carry around or something at a con, you don't want something weighing you down. Things like the screw holes and stuff like that, we'll cover that up, and I think there's some detailing and stuff like that that we might want to add either with the paint job or with a little bit of sculpting maybe. I don't know, we'll see. All right, so as I said, I'm gonna take mine apart because I want to add some pieces to the inside of it, maybe some pieces of metal or threaded rod. I think probably what I'm going to use, or I have some washers or something like that that I can put in there to kind of distribute the weight a little bit and give it a little bit more weight to it, a little bit more heft. So I'm going to take the screws out, take it apart, and glue those to the inside. So we're just going to, well, mine's missing some screws already, so I guess that helps the process of taking it apart. All right, so I have my two halves, which was actually kind of more of a pain in the neck than I thought it was going to be. I took all the screws out, but it still seemed to have maybe a little bit of adhesive in certain areas to kind of hold it together. Yeah, so just be careful when you're taking it apart not to break it. Don't get impatient. So yeah, I'm just going to be taking, I have a couple pieces of threaded rod and some nuts here that I'm just going to be placing into the gun, and we'll glue that into place and then put that on, and then that should give it some weight. Again, this is purely up to you. This is an extra step that I'm taking. If you are like, hey, I don't care if it's lightweight or anything like that, then by all means, don't bother taking it apart because it was more of a pain in the neck than it probably should have been. So I noticed on the actual Star-Lord gun, there's some little holes or some fluting like on the side here, on the top and bottom. There are 5 little detailed kind of holes, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and draw it on here and drill the holes out and kind of, probably using my rotary tool or some files, kind of make those little details on there and put a piece of black plastic behind it so that it has that recessed kind of area inside there. You can kind of see the holes, but it doesn't go all the way through the gun. Again, this is another optional kind of thing you can do. You could probably just paint it on, but I think it'll look cooler and a little bit more authentic if, if we just drill those holes and do a little filing and sanding. I think it'll look pretty good. All right, so once I've drawn the design on there, kind of the way I think I want it to look, we'll start to drill it out and file it down or use the rotary tool. Probably just drill it, and with a little bit of, with a small file, actually I could probably be easier than maybe even the rotary tool. We'll see. I'm just going to finish cleaning these up a little bit, and then we'll glue the styrene into place, and then glue the threaded rod in there, kind of give it some weight, then we can close it back up, fill it with putty, and close up all the seams and stuff like that, clean it up, and it should be ready for painting. While we're at it, we might as well put in the threaded rod and glue that into place. Hot glue to hold that in there. All right, so yeah, I got my pieces of plastic, my threaded rod glued in there pretty good. Both sides. We're gonna pop them back together, pop the screws back in, put some putty in the holes, and then start painting. Yeah, then go ahead and start sanding down all of the screw holes there after it's had a chance to cure. Which usually doesn't take more than about 5 or 10 minutes or so. So we're gonna just... All right, now that we've sanded all of our parts that we bondoed, just gonna go ahead and start painting. Do a flat black over the whole thing. And then I think we're gonna have to touch up then all the metallic parts, obviously with the metallic. All right, so after I hit it with several passes of the flat black, I did a few passes with a satin to kind of give it, just Krylon Color Masters satin finish to kind of give it a little bit of shine to it. So now we're gonna mask off all the areas except for these elements in here, which are kind of a gold color. So I'm gonna use some Krylon Dual Super Bond Metallic Gold and paint up those parts, and then using some, I've got some Citadel Games Workshop modeling paints. They're kind of old, so see if they're any good, but I might use that then to kind of dirty up some of the elements and give it some extra detail, and then we'll kind of muddy up some of the real deep crevices with just some cheap acrylic paint. Also, for all of the chromed elements like the front and stuff like that, and the pieces on the side, I think I'm going to use the same technique I used in my original build, where I just use metallic tape, and kind of the same way you would put it on to mask an area to paint. You just apply it right on there, and it's already kind of got the grooves and stuff like that in it that give me a good guidelines. I can put it on and kind of very delicately with an X-Acto knife cut out the pieces that I want, or cut away the rest and leave just the chromed elements on there. And using like a Brillo pad or some steel wool or something, we can kind of dusty it up a little bit, kind of give it kind of a little bit of a wear, and yeah, maybe even do a little dry brushing on the edge to kind of do some of that bluing. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of this Citadel's Game Workshop paints here. This is Hash Up Copper. I'm going to use a little bit of this to kind of muddy up some of the areas, some of the creases and stuff. I'm just going to kind of rub it in the cracks there. Make those elements kind of pop out a little bit more. I'm going to go real heavy because I don't want it to be too dark or too prominent. So kind of just now in some spots I'm going to kind of dab it on there and then kind of dry it off with a paper towel. Oops, sorry about that. It's kind of... All right, so now I'm going to take some gold and I'm just going to highlight some of the more raised elements. Add a little bit more of a finish. Make some of those areas pop a little bit. Alright, so on here, I'm kind of watering down a bronze, and I'm just gonna highlight some of these areas here on this piece. It's a metallic piece on the gun, but it's a little darker. So I think the bronze kind of works well. And I just wanted to lightly do it, give it a little bit like it's kind of a dirty look. But it'll catch a little bit of the light and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks good. All right, some of these little rivets and stuff like that, I'm gonna use a metallic All right, that's looking pretty good. Before I do any of the deeper detail and start muddying it up a little bit, I'm gonna put the metallic tape on it and see how that kind of looks, and probably it'll be easier to weather the whole thing once that's on there. All right, so I got the tape on, and you keep kind of working it with your thumb or a pencil or something like something soft, you can really kind of work out all of those little creases and stuff like that. I dusted the tip with a bit of a nickel, which kind of gives it a nice variance there. It kind of dulls the tip, and I think then if we do a little bit of dry brushing to kind of blue it, maybe just a little bit on the edge, it'll stand out a little bit more, look a little bit more prominent. So if you're good at airbrushing, you could do this a lot easier. But if you don't have an airbrush and you're looking for an alternative way to do it, you still want to have that kind of look like the laser burn kind of scorch mark on there. I think this is a fairly effective way to do it. You can see it gives it a tint of the blue depending on how the light hits it. And depending on how dark you want to go, just add the blue and then wipe it off. Leaving kind of like an edge there along the side there, so that it's like bluer kind of the further in you go, and then the edge here is still very metallic, or has that kind of look where it's sort of like it's scorching or it's burning the further down it goes. All right, well, it's about all I have time for today, but I'm pretty happy with the way it's turning out so far. I mean, you could stop there. I used the metallic tape, whatever, for the pieces on the ends. I think in retrospect, I might replace these altogether. They're not as highly detailed, and they'd be easy enough, I think, to sculpt a piece and place over it. That would be add a little more detail. I'm a little sorry I didn't get to do the handle the way I wanted to. I mean, you could stop here. My idea is to do a real heavy gloss with kind of like a metallic gray, and then using like a mesh pattern, maybe something you find at Michael's or something like that, on a kind of held on an angle in front of it, and then do some light passes with a flat black to give that sort of meshed sort of pattern on there, and to allow the glossy elements to kind of really pop. So yeah, if you're interested in doing a Star-Lord cosplay and you need a relatively inexpensive gun, I know a lot of people are selling 3D printed versions of Star-Lord's gun, and there are the Nerf versions and stuff, but this is a pretty inexpensive alternative. So that about does it for today. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who I met at C2E2 last week. It was really fun being there and meeting fans and signing autographs and just talking to people about costumes and stuff like that. There were some great costumes and some great props and stuff like that people came by and showed me. And if you go to my Facebook page at James Jim J-Raz, you can see some of the pictures I posted and stuff like that from C2E2. So once again, you guys rock. Thanks so much for watching. And again, I'll try and have these a little bit more frequent. Sorry about the long lapse in episodes, but I'm going to try and get them out to you as quickly as I can. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.